Hey, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Inspire. I am your host, Shaw Hayes, and we are so excited to have you join us tonight and be a part of our discussion with these two dynamic individuals who are Grammy nominated singer, songwriter, producer who have worked with the likes of Celine Dion, Gloria Estefan, and so many more who are here to share their journey as songwriter, producers, and vocalists, as well as being the daughter of legendary singer Linda Jones and paying homage to her and her career and what she's done, and that we're going to be honoring her soon in Newark, New Jersey. But without further ado, let's welcome our guests today, Terry and Linda. Oh, Terry and Helen. How are you? How are
Hi.
you?
Hi, Shay.
Oh,
Hey.
and Kiana's here with us too. Let's not forget her. Kiana is here.
Hey,
Hey.
Kiana. So good seeing you.
Yes, it's so great to have you both.
We're
We're
happy
so
to
honored
be
to
here.
have you. And I am looking forward to hearing more about your journey during our call, during our friendship discussion that we have going on here today.
You
Thank
got
you. We're excited. We've been waiting for it to
Yeah.
happen.
Yes.
And I know it has to be so exciting knowing that we're building up to the day that the legendary Linda Jones will be honored so that we can have that day to, pay tribute to her and the contribution she's had to the music industry. But let's take a step back in terms of creating the music that you all have had in terms of being songwriters and producers. Coming from such great lineage, did that already come to you instantly, or is that something that you sought out afterwards?
I can start off. This is Terry. For me, it started out for as long as I can remember. Just coming from a family of singers. My family, it was for my grandmother and grandfather, there were 10 kids, 5 girls and 5 boys, and they were called the Jones Singers. So you can imagine there was singing and music in the house consistently.
All the
And
time.
then of course, it's just continue from there for me.
Mhm.
Helen, you want to jump in?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, same thing here. My grandfather was a legendary gospel singer. And people like Mahalia Jackson, Sam Cooke, James Cleveland was sitting around my grandmother's table. And me as a little girl, I had no idea what was going on. And those harmonies were hit on that Friday night. And it just hit, I think we both, Terry and I, the Bruners and the Jones, we just all can sing. Like they just can sing, except for my mother.
It's different.
She can play piano, but everybody can sing and it's stuck, and there you have it.
So then now you have it in your family. It's around you and you're hearing it all the time. When did you feel like you wanted to make a career out of it? Like, how did it become real for you that this could actually be something I could make a career from this?
Go ahead,
I
Terry.
can say for me, it was forever. Like I said, just my mom being an artist, professional, and I was very young, when she passed, but I lived with her memories and everything. So as far as I'm concerned, I've always wanted to do this, and to me, it's just a blessing that I was able to kind of continue the journey.
Mm-hmm. And let me see. I would say I was going to be an attorney, and I was working at a law firm. I always sung. We always had little bands, all that stuff. Working at a law firm, and I was just like, "What the heck am I doing?" A guitar player, a friend of mine, called, said, "You want to join my band?" And I said, "Mm-hmm." I left and never looked back.
Really?
Yeah, I left and never looked back to corporate America at that time, and I always knew I wanted to do it, but I was scared. I was like, oh, I can't do that. By the time I'm 21, I have to have this and, 401ks and never look.
Yeah.
And honey, please, once I hit that stage, come on now. It was a wrap.
It just became a thing you knew you should have been doing.
Oh, yeah. In
That's it.
school, I would sit down and I'm in school and I'm writing songs. I'm not paying the teacher any attention. In Glee Club, remember Glee Club back in
Yes.
school?
Mhm.
All those things and singing, solos and choir and church and, so it's always been a part, but really professionally, I when I turned about 20 years old, I said, okay, let's give it a go.
Yeah, hell, thinking of Glee Club and things like that. I mean, if there's any people on this from Miller Street School, I attended that school as a little girl, and I was the only young kid, like in the first grade and the 8th grade choir, because I
Mhm.
was around music all the time and harmonizing with
You
my
knew notes
family,
and
and it just
ranges.
came natural. So
Yeah.
shout out to Miller Street School.
Shout out.
So I mean, and the amazing part is that it was already in you to want to do that, and
Yes.
that's great that you have that foundation. But for those who don't know, I guess the starting point, like you having someone say, "Come on and join my band," like what would be like something you would tell someone, like if you're trying to get into this business, what should you do first?
Well, you know what? It's so different today than it was when we were coming up because you had to hone your craft.
Yeah.
You went out and you did gigs at bars, you did block parties. You didn't go straight from the computer with Band or Logic or all these digital workstations. You had to really hone your craft, and you didn't get to the studio until 4 or 5 years later because it was so expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Where you can spend $500 now and you have unlimited tracks. Where then it was,
Yeah.
to really make a record, you're looking at starting for a demo about 10 grand. So it was a little different. And back then, people would come into the clubs and look for artists. So
Mm.
I would say, because it's different and that's okay, learn, but nothing, the one thing that has not changed is the business, the
Mhm.
business of show. Copyright is still the same. Publishing is still the same. You know what I mean? Contracts still the same, which they shouldn't be. So I would say any artist, keep perfecting your craft, but learn the business because you're the watcher. You got to watch your manager. You got to watch your label. You got to watch
Yeah.
it.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what I
We
mean?
yeah,
Really,
we always say who's watching the watcher.
Yeah.
And
So being the person
the
that's on
one
the
thing I
team.
can say for me, it was very important for me to learn the business of music first, only
Mhm.
because my mom passed at the early age of 27. And at this time, of course, you wouldn't think that she would think that she was going anywhere.
Mhm.
And just having someone in your corner that understand the business is super important because of course her music was exploited for years. I wasn't
Mhm.
getting any royalties, wasn't getting any of those things. So for me, I always said before I'm in this business, I'm going to learn the business and I'm going to go back and reclaim my mother's legacy, which I was
Yeah.
able to do.
But that's one of the biggest things in terms of having that control. I guess in this age now of, the digital age of being able to put your music out on your own, you can control the content as it's released. But if you're
Mhm.
now trying to become a songwriter, you now have to get yourself out there. You want to basically use the platforms that are around you to
Mhm.
get your songs out there. How do you, but first explain it from the very basic level in terms of getting yourself registered? Because people don't understand that you have to make sure your songs are registered so nobody can just take your song idea and then take it off and say this is mine first. It's
Right.
Can
so
I
many
say,
different things.
let me say something about that too. With what you're saying is it's super important to know who you're working with, first of all.
Mhm.
If you're going to write with other people and you're going to do business with other people, make sure you're doing the business first. Because once you get into that creative stage and you're moving forward and the paperwork is not done, then other things happen. And
Mhm.
then you're really upset. And that's how you learn, by doing it, by being around people who hopefully are honest enough to teach you as well and to say, hey, we got to do songwriter splits. We got to do songwriter agreements before we move any further. Once they start with the creative process and they know that this song is going to be a full marriage between the people that's giving their creative ideas.
Yeah, because you never know where a song is going to go. I had a young man who we were working with, and he sold one of his songs
Mhm.
for $5,000 to a very prominent producer. He was so excited. He said, "Oh my gosh, $5,000!" Well, that song ended up making 2.5 million,
Wow.
and he lost it all. And he had a nervous breakdown because he couldn't believe it. And the producer said, "Don't you ever sell another one of your songs again."
Well, we'll explain that a little bit more because people don't understand. Selling a song means you're handing over all rights,
Oh,
all royalties. So
Right.
explain that so people to understand that what that means. Like selling the song versus licensing the song in a sense
right.
that someone
All
can
right,
use it.
Shay, you better go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Shay.
That's what we're talking
I
about.
love
It's shy,
it.
y'all. It's
No,
shy, but it's okay.
okay. Anyway, Shy, sorry. But
That's okay.
so licensing a song is when you lend your song out non-exclusively. So when you go non-exclusive, that means that it can be licensed. You hear a song in a commercial and you'll hear that song in a movie. and you'll hear that song on another artist, which is a cover. But when you have someone buy something, when you buy something, that means you own it. So you can no longer receive any kind of residuals from that particular song. So you really don't want to do that. You want to always maintain your control, and publishing is key. So I would say for any new artists out there, start your publishing company. You don't have to, see, this will go even deeper.
Yeah.
You don't have to get an EIN, a tax ID number yet. Register your name, fictitious name. It's called doing business as. And you do that in your state. And once you do that, at least you own your name. And also join a performance rights organization, and BMI, CSAC, start networking.
Yeah.
Networking is very key. Work with new artists. You know, you got to break yourself in and listen to what's hot. Listen to before you, and listen to what's going on now. You can implement all of that. So it goes and an hour conversation, but
and like we said, that's your intellectual property. That's your legacy. So you need to hold on to it. As Helen said, publishing is king and queen. And if you own a piece of something, if you can hold on to it, then that's going to keep you living forever, as far as being able to live comfortably.
And people using your song over and over again, from commercials to movies. Like you said, that money comes back to you no matter when it's ever played.
Oh, absolutely. I'll tell you a little story really quickly. And also, hi, everybody. I see them coming on and saying hello. But Terry and I had an opportunity to sell a piece of our publishing to this record label. And they said, it's only one song. And we said, yeah, but then if you keep doing another song and another, your catalog is across the world and you don't have control of it. 6 months later, Paramount Pictures called us and said, listen, we would like to use that song. Now, we ended up maintaining all of our publishing rights because we didn't sell, and they wanted to charge us pay us $2,500.
$2,500
just to buy it.
Well, the song ended up coming out in the score starring Robert De Niro and Angela Bassett. It was the number 2 picture in the country, and it went all over the world. Can you imagine what we made from that?
And people are getting the song.
And we're still getting paid from that. We're still getting paid from it.
Residuals. Exactly.
So now that you have the scope of what the business looks like, how do you get yourself out there as a songwriter? How do you become someone that people want to work with you, even if it's an emerging artist or an established artist? How do you connect to that to get to that next level?
Right. First of all, you have to put yourself around the industry. You have to put yourself around. There's musicians, producers. You know, if you're young, there's somebody on the block that's doing something. Or if you're old enough to go to a club, go to some open mics. Try to put yourself around like minds. It's like if you're a hairdresser, you want to be a hairdresser, you're going to go to a particular salon, or a barber, you're going to go to the barbershop, you're going to hang out. So you need to go to the studio and say, listen, I want to intern. Go and intern. Right. That is a wealth of knowledge. And all these different musicians and artists and producers are there. And say, listen, I hear something. Do you mind? Don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah, and be a part of an organization, like Helen said, that where you can definitely be around people who are really doing it, and people who can give you the proper information. Because some people, they may be in the studio, but they may not know the business. Right. So like, for instance, Helen and I, we started out, of course, as solo artists. We had our own separate deals, we came together. And we're part of, like, the Grammy organization. You know, we we're both presidents of the local chapter. Then we're national trustees. Helen was co-chair of awards and nominations. I'm co-chair of membership. So not only are we creative people, we also understand the business and around everybody that's doing it and our peers who are really doing it. So when you know you're doing business, you're going to do it right.
Yeah, you're only as strong as your network. Network is so important. Look around you. If you look around you, you'll see where you are in life.
And it helps you gain access to things that you didn't think that you'd be able to get in the door about. Exactly. So talk about the part of where you all in terms of being on the board, because people think about the Grammys in terms of in the recording industry, in terms of the national level, but don't think about the local chapters. Explain what that means in terms of being on the local version of the recording industry?
Well, we started out as members, because everybody, you can be a member as long as you have the proper credits. So we started out as members. Someone said, hey, listen, a very prominent songwriter, y'all have a network of people. Y'all should be a member of this chapter. There's 12 chapters around the country. We actually joined as members. Then we ran for a board seat, got on the board. Then we ran for officer seats, got those, and just worked our way through the process of understanding the infrastructure of the organization and actually networking. And that's pretty much it. People think it's this mystical, magical thing, but if you have the proper credits, meaning recording credits to be voting members, or if you're a professional person, say you're not a recreator and you're a professional member, someone that's a manager or people like that, then they can be professional members. And as long as they're working and active in the music community, then they can actually be a part. But for voting, you have to, in order to vote on the Grammys, you have to have creative credit things that's been released on Amazon or iTunes, across the major platforms.
But can you be an independent artist and have that same thing?
You sure can. Yes. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
As long as it's released and your project has a barcode and it's been released properly. That's when we talk about the business, released properly, so that when they go and look it up and they see, okay, they qualified.
Oh, yeah.
Get someone to invite you to be a member, and you go from there.
And so when you're now get to that point in terms of being able to establish yourself in that structure of things, does that help build you connections, like just being a part of those kind of organizations? You're now getting work from that, or is it just great to look on your resume and say you're doing that?
Oh no, well it only works if you work it. So being a part of the organization, we met so many people. Matter of fact, Tracy, hi Tracy, wonderful artist, was a previous trustee. And you begin to meet different people from all over the country. So you're sitting there, like right now, John Legend is a trustee. Layla Hathaway was a trustee.
Yolanda Adams is currently a trustee.
Yolanda Adams. So these are the people that you're in the room, and then you're also in the room with someone who is a great independent artist. You know what I mean? Like a Carol Riddick or a Tracy Hamlin, and you're there with them. So we're all working together because at the end of the day, we all respect each other's craft.
Yes.
So we know if you're sitting there, that means that you know what you're doing.
Well, let's talk about the marriage of being a songwriter and the actual production. Because you could be a great songwriter, but you don't have the production element.
Oh, absolutely.
Talk about how to create that for yourself, or finding people to build a marriage of that.
Right. Well, those are two different things, because it's different. Today with the kids, a producer today could be someone who creates a track and they cut it up, they sample it a certain way, and nobody can do it like them. So they have to come to the studio to work with the artist, and they become the producer. They bring the song to life. Then you have old school like a Quincy Jones, Gamble and Huff, Babyface, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, where they get a song and they envision it and they see it at its end. At the end of it, because you're painting a picture. They know which artist is going to sound right on what bass player to bring in, what string arrangers to come, because they can see the end picture. You have to see the entire, you're like a director.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So and know that this particular engineer will bring that ballad to life, but this engineer will bring that serious jam to life. So you have to be smart enough to know what works. A lot of times you write something, you're too close to it, or you can't see the end because you're stuck in demo mode.
Yeah, and you can't get demo love, as we call it. Yeah. So, and the beauty of this also, just from a female perspective too, a lot of times when we go in the studio, or used to go in the studio, it doesn't happen now. People think that all you do is sing and you don't write, or I just want you to sing the song. But we've been lucky enough, I think, from the decisions that we made, to actually learn the technical side of it and be able to not only sing, write it, and produce it, which is a rarity. Everybody doesn't want to do all of that.
Yeah.
We just happen to fall into it by our experiences through this industry.
And it taught you to be prepared.
And we can fall back and let someone produce us as well, or go and work on a project where we're just arranging background vocals, or we're just coming in and you tell us what you want. You know what I mean? So you have to be comfortable in whatever role that you're called to do. If you're the boss,
is it easier for you to, I guess, be able to convey songwriting as a vocalist? Because I know there's singer-songwriters, and then you could just be a songwriter.
right?
Is it easier to be able to do that, or like if you're a songwriter who don't have the key component of singing, does that make it harder for you to track your song to be able to get somebody to really want to produce it?
Well, normally, yeah, because you got to sell it, unless you've already, was lucky enough to get something out there. But you need to find singers who can say it.
And then some people can do it themselves, though, Hal. Some people can demo it themselves enough to get it to where, someone else might be interested in it. So I think it works both ways. Depending.
Well, we have another guest joining us tonight, who is a producer who works right alongside with you all. I know that your mother is going to be honored soon, and we want to be able to contribute to the conversation about music legend. In terms of what the music industry has meant and her contributions to that. So let's bring George in so we can continue the conversation.
Hey, Pops.
Hey, Pops.
Hello.
How are you?
Can I say a little bit about Pops? We call him Pops.
Please do.
He is a multi-platinum producer. He is the one who heard something special in Mom Linda and produced all of her records. No one else touched Linda Jones as an artist but George Kerr. And he's worked with everyone from the OJs, the Moments, Ray Goodman and Brown,
Starlights,
everybody who he is, and one of the most sampled producers.
Yes.
From Kanye West, Late. That's him.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
Chance the Rapper. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, he's like,
you go on and on and on. He is amazing.
Thank you very much.
Well, let me ask you, how does that make you feel knowing that obviously the generations before our generations are the foundations of what music is today? Like everything we hear, even if it's an original track, it still has symbolism of what we heard back in the day. How does that make you feel that your music has had that much impact?
I never dreamt that my music, when I was doing it, would be around today and the young kids sampling my music. The Linda Jones situation, I was just so blessed to be able to be the one to be able to produce Linda Jones. Out of all the artists that I have recorded, she did only one take when I was recording. No other artist did that. Linda Jones, that voice, it was like from heaven. No one could copy Linda Jones. So I was very, very fortunate to be able to be the one to produce her. Going into Linda Jones was the producer's dream. All I had to do is to do the tracks and hit the button. And Linda did the rest. So what you're hearing is like a first. No one can be Linda Jones. And I'm just so happy to be able to go down and see them change the street and name it Linda Jones Way, because that's where we all started down there. She was one of the most magnificent entertainers that God ever blew breath in.
Oh.
Well, Terry, how does that make you feel knowing? I know as a child, having lost your mother at such a young age, that having these memories and people being able to share these journeys with you had to make you feel at least confident in the fact that she wasn't here anymore. How did that make you feel knowing that she contributed so much?
I mean, my heart is so full right now because many years I didn't really deal with it. You know what I mean? I went to a transition of really trying to, like I said, reclaim her legacy. And when I got to that point, people started reaching out. and we started putting more music. We got a Grammy nomination.
Yeah.
She got that as well. And we were able to accomplish some things that actually put her back out front again.
Mhm.
So for me, my heart is just, it's just full. You know, so much love, not just here in the United States, but globally for the footprint that she left.
That is
It's a
correct.
global footprint.
Yes, it
And,
is.
What song of hers, Terry, that brings such a memory that you can sing a little snippet of for us that holds comfort in y'all?
Maybe a little bit of Hypnotized. You put me on the spot right now.
Yes, of course. We're gonna sing with you. Go ahead. You started. We'll do background.
Move back from the mic so you don't.
Hypnotized. You got me hypnotized. All it took was just one little look into your eyes.
Go ahead.
Yes. And I
Just a
asked
little
you to
bit.
sing that because when I
Too much.
first told my mother we would sing, interview you guys, she was so excited because she like literally when I told her this, she took me back and she literally walked me through about the memory of how that song and how it connected her so much. And I always say that, you know, we talk about music today. There's, you know, I want music to be a memory that people are attached to and that they can think about 30 years that it transports you. Like that song transported my mother in that moment. And I, you know, thank you for her contribution and you being able to create a legacy for your own, but also maintaining hers as well. So thank you for all that you're doing and, you know, to do that and creating that through new songs as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. Let's talk about the also the Grammy nomination. I mean, when we got that nomination, we were crying, shaking, and whatever, Helen, at the same time, right?
Oh my gosh, yes. I'll tell you, when we were working on the project, we were singing a particular part, and there was a third note. Me and Terry was not singing that note. It was a third note, and we knew at that moment that Mom Linda said, "Okay, girls, go ahead." And we never thought we were the only independent record label in the category, the only all-female owned record label. So for us to get that nomination amongst all the major labels was unbelievable.
Yeah,
it was incredible.
Well, let me ask you, what made you decide to bring in the vocals? Like, what was it? You could have did anything of your own. What made you decide to create that project using Linda's voice?
Well, I needed Terry to move forward in it because I knew she needed healing. Because she would just push it to the side. When the Ali came out, the movie, and the lady was there and saying it was this woman singing, it was her mother. But they couldn't say it was Linda Jones because they didn't know that she had an heir out there. So when Terry came forward, I said, you gotta move forward. We gotta get this out here. So we said you can only submit a vocal if it's 5 years old. So we had to do the magic of Natalie Cole and Nat King Cole. Remember with Unforgettable? So Terry and I had to sing a lead.
Did a great job.
That gave us. So he gave us vocals for free. He said, listen, it's your mother.
Yeah, that's your mother. He's like,
don't worry about it.
Yep.
He gave it to us. And then we put our stuff around it. And we said, let's see what happens. We had one chance. Yep. And the rest is history.
And the other thing too is that we were going to have a friend of ours that worked at Philly International at the time to mix it, and he got the LaBelle project.
Yeah,
and he said, "Listen, can y'all push your project back to maybe next year and put it in the next Grammy season?" And we said no. We said now is now. So we took it in house, and Helen and I mixed it. So everything that you hear was like okay, and we worked on it. And, you know,
it was a great honor. So that's why we're so excited about Linda Jones Day. And that was the beginning of Linda Jones Day when the city of Newark heard that she was getting a Grammy nomination posthumously. They said, oh, we have to do something. So they gave Terry the proclamation declaring December 4th, Linda Jones Day. 14th, Linda Jones Day. And then the rest, here we go. We're coming around again.
Yeah.
Again.
Incredible.
So this is, yes. It's a huge honor.
It is to be able to say that because you're constantly making sure that her legacy and her music has been continuously remembered, and it will ever forever be, because now that people go past and know that name and see and ask the question, even as a person who didn't know the music will ask, well, who is Linda Jones? And that her legacy will always be remembered through that.
Yes.
And our family also, our entire family is just really elated over this honor because, you know, I mean, like I said, it's been something that's been in the works, but it's finally happening, and everybody's just super proud.
Yes, we are.
So when I go around, I want to ask you all, in terms of everything that you all are doing and have done, what are some of the things you want to do moving forward? What are some of your goals? And I know you've accomplished so much. Are there any of things additionally that you want to have happen and see happen for your careers?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Right. What we're doing, we have a book, and Linda Jones is the major part of this book that I have, and I'm getting with
stories
Terry
are amazing
and Helen, and we are going to put our heads together, and I'm going to give it to them and just tell them to do their thing. The book is already done, but and it's unedited, and I think that it could be a great movie, you know. So I'm gonna give it to Terry and Helen, and let them go through it, listen, and see what they think about the whole thing, and then just let them do their thing, because I trust them, love them. Anything that I have, these two young ladies can get.
Oh.
They are my daughters. They're my daughters.
Yes, we are.
So, but so from book to movie, because you know it,
you got it.
We directed our first TV segment. It was a sad occasion for our wonderful, beloved Sarah Dash. She was inducted into the New Jersey Hall of Fame, and it was on PBS.
Right.
Asked Terry and I to produce her musical segment. So now we can add TV director to our name. So we got a little taste of that TV and film thing now with the movie.
Right.
Yes.
So we are ready and rocking. And I'm telling you, an Oscar would be a wonderful thing to have.
Yes.
You're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. You're definitely gonna get it.
So I mean, so that is, I'm assuming, because I was asking about goals, is that where for Helen, for you, is that where you see yourself in terms of goals, wanting to get an Oscar and other writing credits that?
Oh yeah, I mean, I would love to produce turn Black novels into major motion pictures.
Right.
I think that so many of our stories, just like Pop's, you know, his story is amazing. I mean, sometimes we sit and listen to him for hours.
Yes.
I mean, incredible.
And you know what's really interesting? The stories never get old.
No.
Every time I hear them, and I think I said this to you today, Pops, it's like hearing them for the first time for me.
Yes.
And they're just amazing. I'm telling you.
You know why
I just want to.
That's one of the reasons why I always say that, because as much as we love advancement in technology, people were living in the moment. So you can remember every detail of what was happening when you was there. You remember the smell of what people was wearing, what the music was playing in the background. So you can recall it all back.
Yeah.
And so telling the story is like telling a movie through your words. So that's one of the reasons why I love the fact when connecting to music like that, and me call my mother, and she was able to like flash back in that moment. She had details down to her memory connected to that, because people were living in the moment.
Exactly.
And it's like,
when Terry's aunts and uncles used to tell her, you know, your mom was singing when Ali met his first wife, and she's go, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
really?
You know, we were like, oh my gosh, you know, because you don't think, you're like, yeah, okay, whatever. You know, you're grown now. Well, it was true. So all of these things, you know, Linda Jones was a part of so many people's lives.
Yes.
You know, George a part of so many people's lives. You know, now we are a part of so many people's lives.
Yes,
But that would be the ultimate goal, to produce, direct, get an Oscar.
So Terry, for you, like individually, what are some of the things that you want to accomplish and want to have happen for you?
You're talking about me?
Yes.
Oh, listen. Sky's the limits. I have so many things that I want. Like Helen said, the Oscar is also another thing that I love to kind of tackle. You know what I mean? But I really my main concern and focus in life right now, believe it or not, is working on continuing to keep my mother's legacy alive, to exploit her music, for me to continue to write as a songwriter and producer and artist. I mean, if I just can continue to accomplish those things, I would say my life would be complete, even if I didn't get the Oscar.
Well, all I gotta say is that people have commented that they want to see a documentary or movie, so that definitely,
yes,
because it is one of those things that when people hear the song, they're connected to the song, and they be like, "Well, who's singing that?" And then you say Linda Jones. It may not roll off your mouth as like a dynamo, but people know the music, and so that's why it's important to create the story that goes beyond just the music. So
yes, and there were people asking about an unsung, doing an unsung, or doing a documentary and those things. So those definitely are in the works for that.
Yeah.
I will continue to push for those things. And I'm excited about them.
You've got to be. You should be. You should be.
Mr. Kerr, I should call you. I know Terry said she would hear stories from you that you would often tell it seemed like it was like she heard it for the first time. Can you share a story with us that you recall sharing with Linda that you can share with us that we would eventually see eventually?
Well, there's a lot of things that I'm going to talk about, but I want to talk about them at the event. But Linda Jones, when the guy Jerry Harris brought Linda to me, I can just say this. When I recorded the song, I knew I had a hit song, but the young lady that was on there was not knocking me out. So my friend Jerry Harris, I said, Jerry, I have a hit. I said, but I need a singer that could walk water.
Yeah, walk water.
And Jerry said, I got the person that can walk water. And to make a long story short, when I heard Linda, the goosebumps came on my arms, and she was walking water. And I can say the rest is history.
Yeah.
Pops, can you just say how long did it take before the record broke? Before you knew you kept shopping it?
It took me 2.5 years.
That tells you keep trying.
But there's more to the story. There's more to the story.
Yes, there
but
is.
I wanted him to say that because it took 2 years. You're going to hear more of that at the reception.
Yes.
But don't give up. Imagine if he said, forget it.
But he knew it was a hit.
He knew it was. When you feel it in here, when you feel it, and you know, and God is speaking to you, and you know with every fabric of your being that
you better believe it.
You keep pushing.
That's right.
And that's the amazing thing about it is people don't often think that
one song, just one song. I was
hypnotized
with under my arms. One song.
He was going from place to place, but he kept going.
And then,
God flew me to Detroit.
Here we now know that it's a song that people hear and it resonates with them once they hear it immediately. So I know that with every artist that you've worked with, for your Gloria Estefan and to Celine Dion, are there any artists that are out there that you're looking to work with or working with currently?
Oh wow!
Well,
so much.
I'll tell you, there is something that I can't wait until we get to the event that I'm going to talk about. Helen and Terry know nothing about what I'm going to talk about. But
well, he's trying to keep all the jewels for then, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah, but we have some wonderful artists that we work with. We want to work. We have one of our artists, China Black, who did a lot of stuff for Jill Scott, Erykah Badu. We got so many different artists, but who we want to work. You know what? I really want to do a song on, and I know you're gonna say, really, Diana Ross. I love Diana Ross.
Yeah.
Really?
I would love to. Yes.
But let me ask you about your musical influences. What? Okay.
I could say for me, believe it or not, I always love going for the underdog. I like the people that actually have not been given the opportunity to, you know, be successful in this career, because those are hidden jewels. And sometimes even when you think about, and not that I'm putting down people on the major labels and this and that, because I work with those people as well. But I think the independent artists, there's some jewels out there that actually need a chance and need an opportunity. And that's where I'm at.
Yeah. You know what?
You know, what musical influences or inspirations do you draw from as far as producing as well as songwriting?
Oh, production. Oh my gosh, it's a plethora of people.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's,
oh gosh.
for me, it's kind of hard, Hell, because you know what? I think a lot of times when we're producing, it's really organic. It depends on really the artists that we're working with. We don't want them to be somebody that they're not. You know what I mean? We want them to be real, and we don't want to try to change who they are. Just look at keeping them organic.
Yeah.
For me.
You want artists to be who they are, but as far as, I mean, the producers and different people who have inspired us, of course, George Kerr, Valerie Simpson and Ashford and Simpson, Luther Vandross and that Adley Maxwell, Prince, of course, I said Quincy Jones, Missy Elliott, so many. And really, you just listen to their work sonically, where they're coming from sonically, how it comes off, and what are they using on this person's voice to make it even, you know, come out at you better. Those little teeny things like that. But when you're getting an artist, you really want, as Terry said, to develop that artist and have them have their own lane. So,
and for us, believe it or not, in the production, and I know because it's what we use today for some artists, but I'd rather for them to be pure. I don't want to hear auto-tune on every single note. I want them to be able to bring it to the studio and bring it to the stage as well.
Yes.
Right.
So what comes first, the hook or the actual verses?
Every song is different.
It's different.
For me, what about you, Pops? I mean, for Terry, me and Terry go in different places when we go to write. And then she comes back with one thing, I come back with another, and then we decide which one is the best.
Yeah.
But Pops, what about you?
Well, sometime I may start off with the hook.
Yeah.
And then go into the verse, or I may start with the verse and then go into the hook. It all depends on how I feel. When I write a song and when I produce a song, you know, I have to feel it. You know, I go by feelings. Like I said, when I heard Linda sing, goose pimples came on my arm, so I knew I had something there. I knew it. In every hit record that I ever had, I knew it because I felt it. You know, I felt it. But the songs come, if I think of a song, I can throw it right out of my mind and don't have to think about it. And maybe a week or maybe the next day, this whole song will come and I'll write it down. So songs just coming like that.
Right.
With me.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll come up with chords or groove because I play piano, and I started off as a drummer, and the boys tease me so bad. And they say, girls don't play drums. But I can still play and I can program. So sometimes I'll just sit down and I'm playing some chords and Terry will come in and start singing. And then sometimes somebody will say something. And it's like, boom. So we're always listening.
Right.
Always listening.
Well, I was going to ask in terms of, can you break down song structure so that for those who are looking, I mean, of course, if you've gone to school, you should know better, but for those who don't, they may be a poet, but they want to turn this into a song. How do you break down song structure and what that looks like?
Well, the typical song, I mean, Pops, you can do the typical song, but every song, it could be, the hook can come first and never come again.
Right.
You know?
It depends.
So it depends on what you want. But the typical song, go ahead, break it down, Pops.
Normally it's a verse.
Right. It's always the verse. And
maybe a bridge.
Have a hook.
Not many bridges these days, but
the bridge and then the bridge. They don't think about bridge
the vamp
nowadays. You know, but we come with the bridge, and then we go back to a verse and the hook on out. but they don't use bridges anymore in songs. I noticed.
Not at all. So if you coming from where we come from, you got your intro. Don't go any more than like 4 bars for your intro, because people attention span is so short.
Well, you can have what a 6-minute song years ago, but now it should not be okay.
Right.
No,
I always think with Lenny Williams when he had the breakdown of the song, but he was like, he did the whole tell like my girl don't love me no more. It was like 45 minutes. Of that ain't happening no more.
Right? No. There really aren't. They aren't love songs. There's more sexual songs than it is love. So it's a little bit different than what it was before. But give your intro, hit it, then your verse. And you can have like a 8-bar verse.
Right.
Then you can go to a pre-hook, which is the change going into the hook. And then you want your hook to be about 8 bars. You come right back into that second verse. And normally your second verse is the hardest thing to write. And then you have to decide, are you having a conversational piece where you're talking to someone?
And I can imagine how many rewrites are done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or are you telling a story? Are you the narrator telling someone else's story?
Right.
So you sit down and really listen to the great songwriters of today and yesterday.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so each song says something a little bit different. You know what I mean? Depending on what you're doing. I think you're frozen. Is she frozen?
Who's frozen?
There we go.
I think she's frozen. So
okay.
There we go.
You were frozen.
You're back.
Right.
Okay.
You're back. Yes.
You're
back
now.
now.
So can you all see me? All right, good. So I guess I would just ask, I know we're getting closer to wrapping up, but what advice would you give someone who's looking to break into the industry as far as the where to start? You have the skill, you know what you need to do, how to start, and like making those connections.
Like I said, it's all about the network. It's all about the network, as we said in the beginning. I mean, you have to put yourself around the people who are really doing it, and the people that you can get the experience from. It's going to tell you the truth and not steal from you. You hope that everybody that you're around is telling you the truth. So to me, it really is about the network, and it's about that networking.
Yeah, and it's more accessible because you got Instagram, you got Facebook, you got Twitter, where you can go right on. You can see what people are doing. You say, you know what, I'm feeling their vibe. Send them a DM. Listen, this is my email or my number. Let's talk. Then you can meet them at a public place. I mean, you know what I mean? And then have a conversation and see if you're of like mind and spirit. Because it's all about
because that spirit means a lot. Because someone could be a great writer, but it's just something about their energy that you like. So that matters. First and foremost.
Yep, but that's what you have to do. You know what I mean? But it's so different. And go to where it is. There's open mics, there's clubs, there's studios. Go to where it is all about putting yourself out there. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Just like, Pop said, look how many no's he got to hypnotize. 2 years worth, but he kept going. Do not give up. You never know when God says it's your time.
Correct. Right. And don't give up. They say it took 2 years. It may seem like a lifetime to some, but because they say you can have 100 no's, and it only takes like 1 yes.
Yeah. Just think about this. Back then, they had records, so he was walking with the record under his arm,
passing them out.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a digital file; it was a record.
So keep pursuing and keep pushing.
It was playing so much. I mean, it was skipping sometimes. It was skipping sometimes. People put it on and skip a little and everything. No. Ain't you got something like Motown?
See?
Well, that's so great. Well, Mr. George, is there any other, I guess, inspiration or things of words of encouragement for those who are out there wanting to get into the business that you would share them based on your knowledge and how to kind of get started?
Well, number one, if they got any kind of talent, you got to really, really believe in yourself first. You got to really, really believe. A lot of people really don't believe. They think they believe, but they don't believe. You got to feel it. And if you got that, then you got to set your mind and your heart and your soul on that direction
Yeah.
and keep going in that direction. You know, you really got to believe, like I believed in Linda's record, but all of the people that the professionals didn't hear it. They did not hear that song. You know, Linda was new. She came with something completely new. It was nothing out there like Linda. So nobody wanted to take a change on something brand new. You
Yeah.
know, she came in, you know, what is this yodeling? What? She's yodeling. It's different. It's just different. Ain't you got something like Motown?
There was some dance for music.
But the day that they put that record out, the record broke overnight. That's the public. See, the so-called executives didn't hear
Yeah,
it.
didn't see it. They didn't see the bigger
But
picture.
the public, once they heard it, it blew up.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
And if
keep
they didn't
pressing.
believe, no one could run you away or push you away in
Yeah.
terms of making you believe. And thank
That's
goodness
right.
for that. There you go.
Perseverance. I mean, that really truly is, especially in this business, perseverance is the
Yes.
biggest thing.
Yes.
Well, I know that we have a very special day coming up. I want you all to tell everyone, for those who maybe just joined us, what's happening coming up next week on December 14th. So is it open public to the people to come on the public? as
Yes,
well?
the street renaming from Sherman Avenue to Linda Jones Way will be at the corner of Sherman Avenue and Pioneer Street in Newark, New Jersey. If you want to get there and you don't know your way through Newark, just use the address of 165 Sherman Avenue, because that is the house that's still standing that my family lived in years ago. And on the corner, that's the corner of Sherman Avenue and Pioneer Street. It's being renamed Linda Jones Way.
Well, I know.
That is Mom's birthday as well. Her birthday, and it's also Linda Jones Day. So we're celebrating three things. Yes.
Well, I don't want you to have to speak for your mother, and everyone can go around and just say in terms of themselves, what do you want to, as a songwriter, or just as a person in the music business, want to be remembered as? Remembered for?
What do I want it to be remembered as?
Yes,
What do
for
you want to
yourself.
be remembered as?
Yeah.
You.
Oh, please. I mean, it's it's so hard for me because it's a part of me, because I am my mother. So for me, forever and ever and ever, I mean, it's just something that that it's just undescribable for me. That's how much joy I'm getting out of this whole situation. It's unbelievable to me. Years ago, I would never have thought that they would name a street after my mother, and then for my family, everybody is just elated over this. It's just like, really? Okay. So thanks to the city of Newark for helping to continue to keep her legacy alive. There were a lot of people pushing this through, and I thank all of them, and they will be there at the celebration, and I want to make sure that I recognize them, because they didn't have to do that. I take nothing for granted.
Yeah.
But I'm excited about this, and I'm just in love with the fact that so many people love Mom.
Yeah,
I mean, not only the fact that you're keeping her legacy alive, you're creating your own, footsteps and making it happen for yourself, that your legacy is going to be just, it's great because you're continuing on doing it through your music.
We want to change lives. We want to touch people's lives with our music, what we deliver to this industry. We want to help change people's lives and save people's lives. So, when we're gone, the music will play, from Mom Linda's to all of our music.
Right.
We know that we touched the soul. If it's just one, I'm good.
Yeah. Because it does do that. Music does change. Music forever changes your love. I can always say that there's certain songs in my life that I can say it was the soundtrack of my life. It was a moment that I can transport myself to because I heard this song. So and that's why I'm thankful that you all are not only contributing to the songwriting, but to the business of the industry, because in certain seats, you all can make changes that oftentimes aren't being recognized because people are not at the table. So we thank you for your contribution.
I'm looking at some of the comments. My cousin Belinda Jones is saying how blessed and honored. Okay, that's my first cousin. And she's proud. So thank you, Linda. she's a business owner too. And she's not in music, but she has her own business because we are all entrepreneurs. And she's
Well,
a front
if you want to shout a business out, it's okay. We believe in
Sparkle
supporting each other.
Fabulous. She has a nail business.
Okay. We'll shout out to Belinda Jones. It's the holiday time. We got to make sure we sound our businesses out here.
Hey, Linda, put your Sparkle Fabulous in the chat so people can see. They might want to support you in your business. That's what we're all about.
Yeah.
Promoting each
other. Family has been here. Tawanda and so many of her friends, Barbara, then our artist China Black. They're all here. I see so many people talking and saying things, and I know we've been running our mouth, but we want to acknowledge all of you, and we love you guys so much for tuning in.
We have an army.
Go ahead. No, I was going to
say we have an army of people who continue to support us, and we don't take that for granted either, because they don't have to. And they do it with big hearts and lots of love. And for me, that means the world. It keeps me going.
I know.
Belinda put her business at the bottom, so make sure you all go check her out at sparklefabulous.com. And if someone wants to connect to you all, they are looking, if you are in the business of like connecting or mentoring people who are trying to aspire, can they follow you? You all can let them know where they can find you.
Yes,
there it is. Helen Terry on Instagram and Helen Bruner Terry Jones on Facebook.
And also our company is Philerzy, PHILERZY.com.
Yes.
And that's Philly and Jersey.
Okay.
Wow.
All right, wonderful. Should have quizzed you. Said, what is Philly?
Philerzy.
Look, I'm in Jersey, but I'm not from the area, so she would know more than I would. So, we thank you all so much for coming on here. And again, if you are going to be in the Newark area, make sure you all come out in the Newark area to support the street naming for Linda Jones. It's going to happen in Newark. It is happening December 14th, Linda Jones Day now. It's not just the street name, it's Linda Jones Day at Sherman Avenue and Porter Street. So make sure you follow them so you can get more information and how to connect with them. We thank you all for coming on to share your journey and telling us more about what's happening with you all, and hope that you can come back to share more once after this book and movie.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I just want to say a shout out and a thanks to everybody. We have people that actually are as close as Newark, Philly, and then as far as the UK that stayed up to be here. And I thank all of you.
Karen.
Thank you.
Karen. Hey, Karen.
Michael.
Thank you all for joining us. Let's see everybody. Right.
Hey, cousin.
It's such a great thing to have such a village and have support system. We all thank you so much to be able to share in the journey that we can continue to celebrate the legendaries, the legends that you all are. And we appreciate you for sharing that. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
We're looking forward to coming back when there's something else happening. Thank you.
It's coming. I know it's coming.
Okay.
It's coming.
Thank y'all so much. Y'all have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
And we thank you to our guests and for coming on, Helen and Terry and Mr. Kerr. I'm old school, so I'm the South Side, believe in calling people by the last name, for coming on and sharing their journey with us and telling us about the legacy that is Linda Jones. Like I said, when I called my mother and she immediately was like, "What?" It just made me feel so great about the fact that people who are no longer with us, the music can be shared through those are people who want to be continuously promoting their name, and that we can make sure on December 14th that Linda Jones Day is a big day that we all come out and support her and make sure to support their family so that this day can be remembered forever and ever. We thank you all for coming on and being a part of our Tonight Show. If you want to tell someone else's story and share it with someone else, please make sure you follow us at Inspired by Inanis. You can send us a message, slide in our DMs, or send us an email at inspiredbyinanis@gmail.com. It's right below. And email us if you have a story that you want to tell, if you know someone else who's been an inspiration to you, please email us today. But if you also want to support the show, please send us a cash app at $Kiana Tennant on Cash App. Send $1.50. I think you got to send $1. You can send up to $1 million. Okay, maybe like 500. However, anything you contribute goes right back into the show. The show is meant to inspire our youth and others who want to be inspired as well. We thank again George, Helen, and Terry for coming on today and sharing in their journey. We all wish you much success, much dreaming bigger. Until then, remember, we inspire together. I am your host, Sha Hayes. Have a good night.